We're now in the planet with alternative gravity. We started to work on this section from a discussion with the artist Chen Yinru, who had made those very well-made astrological charts. Pretty much what she did is she took 6 different events of massacres in the recent history in Asia. And she looked at the planet's configuration on the nights of those massacres. And by doing that, she was kind of drawing a sort of connection, or at least raising up the question of how planetary alignment might influence human actions. And so when we had that discussion, of course, I was a bit resistant to it. I say of course, but at least in my view. And she started to tell me, look, Martin, there are those laws of physics. There are those laws of how planet influence us. Whether you accept those laws or you can walk away. And when she said that, I started to think, okay, we definitely don't live on the same planets, and therefore we should have a section exploring artists who are kind of looking at astrological ways of influencing human activity, or how alchemy could do this as well. Here we have a very impressive installation made by the artists June Balthazar and Pierre Pose, who work together as a duo. And they interrogate what void could be, or what holds matter together. They managed to convince the Nobel Prize winner in astrophysics, Michel Mayor, and Chiara Mariotti at CERN to talk about her version of the void as well. And it happens to be that the two scientists have different models of understanding the void, in the sense that for the astrophysicist, void is empty, whereas for the particle physicist, it's filled with a vibratory field, which is the Higgs field. And that's one of the great mysteries right now of physics today, which is that those two theories work at their own scale, but we don't find a way to reconnect them, as if they were acting on separate planets in a way. The other film that they do, that the artists do, this time is not documentary based, but try to depict this sort of invisible matter. And so that brings us into a territory of imagination, of what this invisible matter might look like.
We need a way, which is a traditional way, which is called diplomacy. If you are divided among these different planets, it creates a space of dispute, and this space of dispute has to be instituted, ritualized, organized, so that people can stop fighting one another completely, or the planet goes in completely different direction. So this is why we say new diplomatic encounters. Taiwanese curator Eva Lin will be the one who has organized a simulation of those disputes with many scientists and scholars in Taiwan and activists, trying to show, okay, if we now have to invent those new diplomatic encounters, how could they be settled? And it's the invention of a process, invention of a procedures of diplomacy.
公共计划它的一个方法的途径之一，就是希望能够将不同背景的人邀请聚集在一个空间，尤其是意见不合的朋友们。对，所以其实我们这个跨学科它在讨论，并不是说像是在艺术圈的这种跨领域的概念。这个协商的一个很大的用意，就是在于是说，它其实并不是只是希望听到来自不同的声音而已，而是说这些不同的背景的人，他怎么样凝聚在一起。但我们要求的不是达成一个共识，某种层面借由亲近去产生一种认同。保持不同意见、多元歧义的重要性，所以我们在创造的并不是某种的共识，我们其实是要增加更多的理解， 我们才有可能去翻转这种目前已经似乎是不可逆的一个生态危机啊。
We have seen how different people were living on different planets within this show, which pretty much all of them have a different atmosphere, a different composition. And that's what we're trying to render. The fact that today with the ecological mutation, it's not the same thing to live in a planet where CO2 affects the atmosphere and in a planet which is unaffected by it. So again, we try to stage these different, let's say, representations of the world where people want to go towards, where people want to inhabit. And we accept the fact that there is a deep division with these different representations, but we have the hope, of course, that they can sort of try to negotiate with one another, that they can try to encounter with one another, in order not only to discuss and debate, but also literally to negotiate an agenda of what would be an inhabitable world in their perspectives.
When you curate an exhibition and that you are coming from abroad, I come from France and Martin comes from France, the critique is always, why is it here and not in Paris, or why is it here and not in New York? But the great interest of working with Taipei Museum of Art is that we, from the beginning, wanted to use the Taiwanese situation as a scale model for larger problem of the Earth. And it's very easy because, as I said before, the typical and canonical aspect of ecological and economical problems which are converging inside the island of Taiwan, in addition to the geopolitical question. If you accept that we are divided by the question of nature, every place where you are on Earth has to be highly specific. And the specificity of the exhibition is very well marked in the exhibition, I think, because of a collaboration with activists, artists, and scientists in Taiwan.